G'day viewers, my name's Graham Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists do what they do.
Well, hi folks, and welcome back to Colour in Your Life. Well, we are in Umina Beach near Gosford in New South Wales, Australia. Beautiful, beautiful place, and we're in the studio of Judith Hoste. Judith, welcome to the show.
Thank you,
wonderful to be here. Now, Judith is an award-winning artist and has been teaching since 1985. This all sort of came about when you were going to girls' school, and then you were picked out as basically the person that was going to receive the award for art, unbeknownst to you, and your love of art started from there. Take me back to that.
Okay, Graham. Yes. I went to Princess Girls High School, and in my intermediate year, final year, I won the award for art, and then took up oil painting in 1981 and carried on and started teaching then in 1985. Started with oil painting classes, and then I learnt watercolours, taught watercolours, then moved on to acrylics, which are much like oils, and I did pastels at Bathurst with Patricia Moy. And then I taught pastels, so I knew how to handle pastels. And I've got a bit of a natural ability for drawing, so I teach that if people want.
Yeah, and you've been very successfully teaching for a long time as well. You know, with the number of students, and you know, obviously that's an indication of how good an artist you are yourself, is that how you can convey those techniques to other people also.
Yes, that's quite true, isn't it? You've got to get it through to everybody, and they've won awards, some of my people, over the years. That's great. Yeah, so that's
passing the legacy
really
on.
Nice.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to be doing, and it's a local scene, isn't it, that we're doing today, and it's in watercolours. But the thing that I find fascinating is that, you know, every time I step into an artist studio, there's something new that I learn all the time, and there's a company called Semco that makes watercolour canvas. And I've just felt it before. I mean, I haven't used it before myself, but we're going to be using that as an example to start with, and then you've got some other processes that you've gone through to get to the end result. Really pretty area. There's a lot of little islands and bays and inlets before you go down towards Sydney, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'll step out a shot, and then we'll show these folks these wonderful techniques you've got, plus this new type of material. I think it's quite fascinating. So I'll get out of here.
Okay, Graham. Thanks very much.
Great stuff. All right, Judith, well, you've got the canvas there, watercolour canvas. I think it's fascinating. And at the moment, we're going to do a few different demonstrations till we get to the completed subject, but you're going to demonstrate a few techniques on the watercolour canvas.
Yes, I'm going to start with the sky. Always start with the sky. So I'll just put a little bit of extra water on the surface, help it take. You do end up with a few little bubbles, but they can be spread and softened away. So I'll just add a bit more water now as I come down. It should have a bit more colour, but this is, as it's the first wash, it's all got to stay very, very weak. The colour mix I'm using is cerulean blue with ultramarine blue.
And you always got tissue in your hand to soak up the excess water? Yes,
and like you can always just have it ready to dab away if you want. What is really good about this canvas also is that you, as you just saw there, you wipe it away and it comes back to the white canvas. And even if you've sort of dried, everything's dry, you can still lift a bit of colour out.
Whereas with watercolour paper it tends to stick a bit, doesn't it?
I like it a lot. It's quite different to working on the paper, but I still think it gives a nice finished effect. So now I'll just change the brush. I've been using a mitre, very nice for a wash brush. And I will use now a dagger. I'll leave a small edge, I should say.
So we just want to get that colour down first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll just leave the edge near the water. Of course, that's not dry, and this would all run together.
Sure.
We don't want that going on.
And I can also see that you're multifaceted in the way that you present your work, either landscapes or seascapes, or even you've got one here called The Blue Door.
Yes, Graham.
Which is a beautiful piece as well. So
From Tuscany.
Tuscany, is that right?
Yeah.
So you're in Italy.
Yes.
They've got some great doors in Italy too, don't they?
Oh, yes. I've got more to paint because there's so many terrific effects on their old doors. Yes, I was there painting for a week.
Yeah.
And lovely place.
I think everybody eventually heads to Tuscany at some stage. But your dad was a bit of an influence with you when you were young as well.
Yes. Dad was a fantastic drawing artist, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me a set of oil paints to get started.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd bought a book on how to teach yourself oil painting.
Yeah.
But because I didn't take up the use of or the know-how of what to do for a year afterwards, but finally I did and went to classes with a lady well known in our area at the Umina studio at Booker Bay.
Okay.
And that's how my art life started.
Sure did. It's been going ever since.
Yes. So that's the basic wash for the whole painting.
Yeah.
Splendid. I'll put a little bit of darker colour up too that you can start to add through the sky, just to give it a little bit more. So while it's wet, you can do this and get a little bit of extra. Because the sky should be paler towards the horizon.
Yeah.
So I've left the two land levels that are further away at the moment, and coming into the next one, always paint from the back to the foreground, the distance to the foreground. These areas of the land are covered in trees, but today I'm not worrying about making them look like they've got a lot of trees over them. Now, this main feature in our Broken Bay area, looking across from our beach, Umina Beach, is Lion Island, and it's named that because it looks like a lion.
You've got a piece here called Mollymook.
Yes.
And it's a good example of sort of what you're doing at the moment with those distant hills in the back, but these wonderful reflections you've got, and you can see that it's obviously in the morning with the light.
Yes.
The first time in the morning, yeah.
Looking into the light too, really.
Yeah. Now what you've done is you've actually prepared these other ones as well. That was a fantastic example of what that canvas actually does. I'd never seen it before, but I think it's just wonderful. But what we can do now is move on to the next piece that you've prepared. Good. And we can continue to create the story of what this beautiful scene's all about.
Right, good. I'll do that, Graham.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so now all the tones are in place on all the land going back from the beach through to Palm Beach and beyond. So now I'm going to be placing greenery on the Barrenjoey headland, Lion Island bush area, and this is Umina Point over here. Put this on, dab it around a bit. The light, I'm bringing the light direction in from the left. That's most important when you're working. Must know your light direction. So all bush needs shadows. So I've got a stronger green now that's going to give us some breakups through here.
Just using the shape of that brush to get...
Yeah, you can see how it works.
Sort of roll it over a lot
doesn't it? And see like that, you can get these angling.
It's great, isn't it? So I heard that you went to New Zealand as well.
Yes.
And you painted a great little scene of Bilbo Baggins' house. I'm pretty sure it's Bilbo's house, called Hobbiton, New Zealand. That must have been a great trip.
Yeah. You think it'd be Hobbitown.
Yeah.
But the place is named Hobbiton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now, the Lion Island greenery. So having the lighter green, like over here, putting the lighter green to the edge. It's a warmer green. so that that can pick up or be lighter for the direction of the light coming.
And you can work with that brush and with that technique, you work quite quickly too.
Yeah. Even though it's quite small, you wouldn't think it was, you think it was a too small a brush for most things, but it's quite amazing what it does.
You were telling me before that a number of your students went on to be prize-winning artists as well. That's a bit of a compliment
to
your teaching, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Well, one of the ladies I've taught I could tell right from the start she just had it, and watercolours, and she's gone on to win quite a few awards and very well liked for what she does.
That's wonderful.
Very sought after, yeah.
Wonderful.
So that's really good too.
You've passed a great legacy along.
Yeah.
And the brushes that you're using are Roymac and Franchoville, is that correct?
Yeah, they're the main ones.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a small range of art basic brushes too that now and then I work with.
Yes. Now you do a number of floral pieces as well that you've won prizes with.
Yeah, yep.
Also, you've got one piece that you won recently a prize with, which is in some miniatures, which is a great little painting, very bright, called Red Gum Blossoms.
Yeah.
And you've actually used gouache on that one.
Yes, I did, because I worked on black paper. And the only watercolour won't show up. Well, I could have used oil, I guess, but gouache on the black looks really good.
There's another piece that you've got, which is still of gum blossoms, called Fallen Branch.
Oh, yes.
Which is quite nice as well.
Yeah. Rightio. Now I'll come back and put a little bit of rock headland in this area. It's more a little bit sandstony, a little bit, but this mix has got yellow ochre with some burnt sienna, so it's not just straight ochre. I put a little touch of sienna by itself on its own, let it merge in, just give you some. When that dries, that look quite okay. I'll put a tiny little bit, because they look a bit blue, little tiny wash of some green across this one. And that one can stay just blue and it doesn't look just unfinished.
Yeah, you get that perspective of the colour as it drops away.
Yeah, so these two also. So this one can be a bit lighter. Just spread it around. That helps lighten it out, just spreading it as well. Leave a lot of blue showing. And this one can be a little bit darker in the green. I'm not intending to put the real dark mixed into this, because I want to just keep it soft, well, lighter, not bring it too close. But it's a little bit darker green to the one behind it. So you've got the levels going back nicely. So I'll start with some rock here, because this isn't quite dry. So there's some little rocks through here that are like burnt sienna colours.
Yeah. Well, you've got one which is the classic close-up of probably what you're painting now, called Brooklyn Locals. And it's got the reflections there, but the seagulls just sitting on it. It could be those rocks.
Yeah, it could.
Literally, couldn't it, if you went close enough to them?
Yes.
But that's a great little piece with a whole bunch of seagulls actually sitting on these sienna rocks.
Lots of seagulls that day.
Yeah. You've obviously got a lot of eastern swamp hens down here as well.
Yes.
You've got one called Family Outing here.
They used to come across here.
Yeah.
When we first moved in here, and bring their chicks. They're gorgeous in colour. Yeah,
you've got another piece called Mount Olympus. It's in Tasmania, which is really pretty.
One of my favourites.
You can see the mists in the water.
Yeah.
It was obviously early morning again.
Yes.
A bit more of a random.
Yeah. Not trying to do like the first wash, just go and bring in and leave gaps of this. Just sort of play around and put the paint on, and then come back and look and see how you want to sort of change it around. There's little mounds that you get up, walk down from the car park to the beach. You've got levels and you've got walkways with that they've made with the logs that you walk through.
Well, talking about walking, this is probably the one that you're talking about. It's called Track to Edelong Beach.
Okay.
So we've done a watercolour, and there it is right there.
Out well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Track to Long Beach.
So that'll do for that part. There's a starting point. So I can, this looks pretty good now. It's still a bit wet, but I'll work away from that. I can start the water.
You know, on long washes like that, you're really sort of painting from the shoulder, aren't you? Sort of letting the shoulder do the work.
Flow.
Yeah.
You can't be too fussy. I'll just get
too pedantic.
No, I'll leave little openings, and this is probably the slowest part to get work to get it looking right. It can be a little bit lighter back there.
A little tricky.
Yeah. Yes, you've got to have the waves. We get, usually Umina Beach is quite flat, not great big waves. Good, that's what's good for children for swimming. I'll start now just making some stronger wave areas, stronger blue mix, because it can't just stay this like this. We need a little bit more of a breakup.
Once again, that brush proves its worth, doesn't it?
Yes, yes. I'm using the 1/2 inch at the moment.
And is that watercolour or gouache you've got there?
This is the gouache, which is the what you can get it in colours, but it's an opaque watercolour. Yeah, I do feel it's a little bit sort of like an acrylic in a way, because it dries out quite fast on the palette.
Okay, you've got another piece here called Lunchtime as well. So if you can see, you used a little bit of gouache in there too. It's of some seagulls and some waves crashing across the shore. Very similar to what we're doing. You're also the president of the Central Coast Art Society.
Yes, that's correct, Graham.
That's you run a bit of influence around this area as well.
It's a good committee, and everyone gets on.
But it's a pretty area too. It's it's very, very, very pretty.
The whole area is very arty, not in way out arty, but lots of art, people doing art. When I learnt at Umina, this is how I first learnt to do exhibitions. We had to run an exhibition, learn to run an exhibition every year at Easter time. Mrs. Jamieson would give support different charities around the area, and the Commission on Sales went maybe a few years in a row, went to one group, then she changed over to someone else after that. Yeah, so that we had to learn. This is quite a funny little part of my story. We had to learn to run an exhibition, and every morning we had to take back our finished painting and she'd critique it. We'd have our morning tea and she'd talk about the next lesson. Well, this day she said, you're going to learn to run an exhibition. And I sat there and I thought, why do I need to know this? And look what it's done for me. It's like given me all this knowledge to do what I do now.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so very grateful to Mrs. Jamieson.
Now you've got another piece here that you sold and won an award with as well, and I think it's a beautiful piece of work, very, very moody in the colours that it's got in it. It's called Misty Tranquility.
Yes.
And you can see the mists coming up, another morning shot I'd say, and the birds making their way along the water there. It's very pretty. Okay, well that's wonderful, Judith. You've made some great progress there, but you've done one that's almost getting to the stage where it's nearly finished,
Yes,
which looks beautiful. So we'll move on to that one, and then you can explain some other techniques in that as well.
Yes, rightio. Lovely.
Excellent. Okay, Judith, well we've got the last piece up, which is almost at the finished stage. So where are we going to take this to now?
Add a few more people on the beach, and I'm touching these posts up.
Okay.
So these posts are treated pine, so they're kind of greenish when they're new.
So we need a treated pine colour.
Need to create one.
Yeah, there you go.
Invent one for the. This is just a little bit dark. Put a little bit dark there. Like just not just fill it in, but just put it here and there.
Yeah.
And it just looks more interesting. Because it does have the do that edge. It does have grooves in it.
Well, Judith, if somebody wanted to catch up with you and talk to you about buying your work and doing workshops, I think the best bet for them to do that is to go to artcentralcoast.asn.au, and they can go in there and have a look at what you're doing and the rest of the community as well.
Yes, that's
Lots of amazing artists in there, and obviously you are one of the main ones there, of course.
I'll show you. So now some extra figures. So let's just have a little dot for a head. They'll have to be a little bit larger. This is
It's a tricky part, isn't it?
Yes. So let me
Nerve-wracking.
put them up there. And be careful it doesn't run everywhere. Now give them some trousers or shorts. Go with green, why not? A little bit of reflection, or do a little bit of the purple.
Yeah.
Just a little squiggle. Oops, not enough water.
That's because the water's reflecting as well.
Yeah, just because they're on the wet sand.
Yeah. Yeah, you can really sort of start to tell a bit of a story with all those
Yes,
characters getting in there. Yeah, that's great, isn't it? And then you would spray this at some
Yes,
stage?
it has to be fully dry.
Yeah, of course.
Spray it with gloss varnish.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's
that's
seal it
given a
off.
bit more interest.
Yeah, isn't it?
If I had one here, they'd have to be very large, I think. I'll give him cerulean. Put on some limbs.
There you go. It's like a little scene created.
Okay, how's that look?
Beautiful. Very good.
Looks okay. It's
Looks
good.
great, doesn't it? Yeah,
That
it's-
was needed to be there.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're just sort of
Looks
cruising
like we're
along.
up quite high, looking down.
Yeah, doesn't it?
at them.
It's wonderful. I mean, it's a beautiful picture, and we greatly appreciate your time and spending time in the studio with you today, Judith. It was wonderful.
Thank you, Graham. Been a great day.
Thank you very much. Well, another great day. Umina Beach near Gosford. It's just a beautiful place here. Judith,
Yes, it is.
thank you very much for having us in your studio. That was a wonderful piece you created. Those little characters in the end
Yeah.
really sort of builds the story, I think, which is fantastic.
Yeah, makes it interesting. They're points of interest then.
Yeah, it worked out really well. Now, if somebody wants to see your work, they can go to artcentralcoast.asn.au.
Yes.
You can go in there, actually see Judith's work and a lot of the other people in the area that work around here. It was a pleasure being in your studio.
Thank you very much.
Very, very nice. Very interesting lady. It was a great day.
Oh,
Absolutely
great.
was.
I'm glad you thought so.
Yeah, glad you
I've had a
enjoyed it.
great day.
That's
I have,
excellent.
yeah.
Wonderful. But also you can come and see us in Facebook and in YouTube, and then pop in and see us in Patreon as well if you really want to support the arts and what we're doing. Having assistance from people all over the world is a great thing, and we are doing a great job and meeting fantastic people like this lady here. So we're going to head off again. We're on our way to Perth this time, which is amazing. And as we always say, remember, make sure you put some colour in your life.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye now.